Guess who is back?
Oh, hi, yeah. Packages in the coach's room. Thank you.
Guys? Hello? Hello?
Hey Dylan, guess who is back? Your new assistant coach. No you're not. Okay, what about jungle coach? I don't think he needs one. Hey Mr. Bossman, guess who is back?
Hi, Marcin. What are you doing here?
I thought maybe I can help with the roster a little bit.
Yeah, no, we really good. We're good, thank you.
I heard Inspired reached out.
Yeah, and we said no. I mean, we have a great jungler, he's the future, so I guess we good, huh? Well, thank you, huh?
Hey guys, guess who is back?
Hey, Unk. What are you doing here? I don't think we need a new jungler.
Come on, man.
You know, if you're looking for something to do, you can co-stream the LEC.
Maybe you thought I would never be back. But I'm ready for a new challenge. You said I can costume LAC.
Oh, he's doing the thing.
And I will.
Ah, that video, that was a banger.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, whether you're watching this live or on VOD. My name is Trevor Quickshot Henry, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to our second ever episode of HopEUm. I think our title says something like we're scaling. That's because we are. I have my final co-streamer from the army of G2 co-streamers who I will introduce to you in a moment. But before I do, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. To everybody who's on Sola's stream, I really hope he managed to give some honors to that Fiora because he was hard carried in that previous game. Let me say hello to my two co-streamers who are joining me today. Sola, who was on the show last week, as well as making his debut on HopEUm, somebody who I've known for nearly 12 years. Team Cypher, Team Eclipsia, somebody who I almost worked with, Skyyart. Hello, Skyyart. Welcome to the show.
Hello, guys. Nice, thank you, Quickshot. Yeah, it's been a while, more than 10 years actually.
Yes.
And I still have some sound issue. Nice to meet you, Sola.
Hey,
Okay, well,
nice
listen,
to meet you.
we'll see
I
if we
actually
can
did
get
not
the-
honor the Fiora, I just wanted to say. I
Why
did
not?
honor her.
Dude.
She had one good play. She had one good play. That's not enough.
Yes, you would have lost the game, Sola. I was watching, dude. I saw you sweating, looking at the time, being like, "We got a podcast. Like this needs to end now, bro."
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But she's a top laner. You know, ADCs and top laners, they have a difficult relationship.
It's the truth.
I hope you're not a top laner, Skyyart. Are you?
No, I used to be.
Okay, then.
I'm jungler now.
Used to be. It's okay. Okay, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
gank bot lane every time, don't worry.
Nice.
Let's do a very quick introduction. Sola and Skyyart, you guys just met a little bit earlier today. Sola, because you've been on the show before, maybe say hello to Skyart's audience. Briefly introduce yourself to his stream and his viewers.
Sure, yeah. Hi, Skyyart viewers. My name is Sola. I'm a German streamer. I used to be one of the German casters for basically everything League related. So I've cast like Worlds, LEC, German League for over 10 years and tried to be as high elo as possible in the meantime. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I play AD carry. Right now I'm Hardstack Master, but I used to be good. That's what I call myself at least. And yeah, hope you enjoy the show.
The thing I love so much is this is one of the
Nice.
few times that we get to have a bunch of old men together. Because Skyyart, you're also one of the old men. Could you say hello to Sola's audience for me?
Basically I've been playing League since beta actually. I used to be good in the beginning and I was about to stop and someone proposed me to become a caster. And by that time it was pretty new and I became a caster. I enjoyed it a lot and I nearly worked with Quickshot on a structure called Eclipsia. And basically now here I am, and I'm co-casting for France. Basically,
This is wild, by the way.
I'm a
Back
jungler.
in 2012, before the EULCS had been debuted or announced, like it was organizations I know, like I was interviewing with Fnatic, I was interviewing with Eclipsia, Gambit. They were all hosting their own tournaments and things. So I almost worked with Skyyart, which would have been very exciting. But I do remember you. I watched you on Team Cypher a long time ago. It's a name that very few people, I think, will remember. Regardless, gentlemen, we have got the little band together to talk about the LEC. Skyyart, what's your take? We didn't get you on the show last week, but you've seen a couple of weeks now of LEC. So when you zoom out and you think about the debut of the winter season versus, how do you feel about it?
It's been funny. Actually, BO1 is not my favorite format, I would say. But still, we saw, I think, a very different level between players. I think some players were very, very talented, very good. And so some players were a bit hinting in the games. But I think it's the stress, you know, you came back in the scene. It's very tough. So, but it was very funny, actually, to watch the games.
Sola, what's your take after seeing last week in comparison to the previous week?
Yeah, I think the comparison is quite stark. I think a lot of teams painted a completely different picture in this week compared to the first week. So my, at least, has-been favorite team, Shifters, completely shit the bed. So they aren't the Shifters anymore. For now, at least, they are the Shitters. So yeah, I was completely surprised by some of the players who actually started quite well. Also, a little baby, Navi, I think they had their first reality check against a top-tier team. And
dude, I fell in love. Navi week 1, I'm like, they're going to win the whole thing. And then Navi week 2, I'm like, they forgot where their hands are. Okay, let's dive into the games. Let's go day by day. Let's start, first of all, by taking a look at the week 2 overall standings, right? So each team has played 6 games. Common Core sitting at 5-1, and you've got a massive block there in second place at 4-2. Movistar Koi, Navi, Fnatic, and Giant X. You skip a couple spots, and you got 4 teams tied at 2-4. SK Gaming, Shifters, Team Heretics, and Los Ratones. Those are the 4 kind of groups that we're looking at right now. I'm going to come to Sola first and maybe ask your take on the standings a little bit. You gave a really good summary in terms of kind of the teams, but do you think where the standings are now is how they might look at the end of the tournament?
I think regarding the top and bottom half, we are pretty much set, I would say. So I think the top 6 is probably going to keep top 6 as well.
Yeah.
Common Cup does look like the strongest team right now, I would say. They didn't really have any terrible games. Every other team already had one horrible game, I would say. Keiko was the most consistent one, but they haven't played Giants yet, and Fnatic as well, I think. So they do have some difficult games ahead of them. But yeah, I think the scoreboard is like slowly shifting up to how it's going to be probably at the end of the regular split.
I mean, I always think at the beginning of a year, no matter what format, no matter what tournament it is, at the beginning of a year, teams always take 3 to 4 weeks to warm up. And it's going to be interesting to see how the best of one's 11 games determines who makes playoffs. Let's dive into day 1. Let's take a look at the prediction game. I get to take a look at Skyyart and see how good or bad his predictions were for the first day of games. Last week, we didn't get to see exactly how the numbers played out, but Los Ratones, Giant X, you guys both went Giant X and they picked it up. Navi, Casey Blue, Team Vitality over Heretics. I got points there. G2 managing to pick up the win there against Shifters. KC and SK. I'm looking where the differences are. Okay, that's interesting. The first one that we got difference. Sola, is this just bias on your side? I mean, when we come out of this one.
I mean, it was a little bit of bias, but I still had hopes for SK in this day.
Oh, really?
But I think after the second week, my hopes are kind of gone again for this lineup, I have to say.
Okay.
Skyyart, what's your take on the day and the performances?
I didn't had that much hope on SK Gaming, I would say. And maybe I'm biased as well because I'm French and Casey is French. But I was expecting Casey to beat SK Gaming, but maybe they will pop off after. But for now on, I believe it's a middle team, I would say.
Did you guys feel like the day was pretty stomp heavy? Like, I know the game is a little bit that way, that if you get ahead in the laning phase, you tend to take control. But it felt to me a little bit like day one was more stompy than later on in the weekend. What do you think, Scott?
I will check back all the games again. I think it also depends on the draft, because for now, for me, the meta is pretty easy to stall. I believe the game are not that quick. With the first Nashor, you may not finish the game, because with the place of the towers of the T3 of the inhibitor, it's sometimes pretty easy to just maybe survive and reach the late game, which will be pretty good for lolesports this week. I believe it helped them. But I think the meta is not that easy to end the game if you are not that clear in your pass and your composition is not that good in late game. For me, you can struggle a lot.
Yeah.
I think there's one game we'll probably talk about later in the day that comes to mind when scaling and throwing a lead.
Yeah. A bit later, yeah.
I mean, listen, we're going to go day by day, right? And
sure. You're right.
One thing I'll jump in quickly is like, Koi, Sola, what's your take on them? You said you think KC are the strongest team. We'll talk about KC versus SK after this, but what did you make on the MKoi game? I thought they looked absolutely in control against Fnatic.
Yeah, me too. I would say the only bad game so far was the game on day 3 against Jax, which we'll cover a bit later. Otherwise, MKoi definitely looking very, very strong as well. Yeah, and I would say the game against Jax wasn't even that bad, but we'll cover that later. So I would say MKoi and KC really close tight right now. Yeah.
Okay. G2, of course, on G2 on day 1, they did very well. They smashed shifters, and we've talked about Lost Ratonis a couple of times. I want to bring up a clip that came from Bowser's stream after day 1. They lost to Giant X, didn't go well. The team has been struggling. The team has been looking a little bit of a shadow of their former selves. So let's hear what Bowser had to say about pro play. And then I want to ask both of you guys who are exceptionally good players, streamers yourselves, co-streamers, what your take is on Bowser's comments here.
You guys, bro, pro play is ass. It's shit. Bro, play safe under the tower. Oh, respect to the weak side. Bro, this is just not me, you know? This is not me. And then it's like bad to go for outplays. Like, I hate it. Velja goes for like an insane steal and he pulls it off. And it's like the most insane thing I've ever seen. And then in the reviews, like, instead of praising it.
I mean, listen, he goes on for a while. Skyyart, is he fair? Is he raging? How do you react?
To be fair, I have some sound problems, so it's pretty tough for me to follow everything.
No
but
worries.
He was speaking about the way he should play, because I didn't heard the
Exactly. Look, I'll summarize it quickly. He basically said he hates pro play. It's ass.
Yeah.
You have to respect the weak side.
Yeah.
Sit under turret. Do nothing. Hide.
Yeah.
Like
that's what I heard. Okay.
Basically, it sounded to me like he was whining.
Yeah. I understand his point, actually. To me, you have sometimes on the weak side that you can go aggressive when basically the jungler is basically doing a very standard plays. They just cycle top to bot, and when the jungler is not on the beginning of the next cycle, you have time to make plays. But you cannot make plays when the jungler is obviously on top side. So for me, it's also a mistake from both to me, and I hate this pick. I believe Volibear top lane is pretty shitty in pro play, but maybe I'm
Baus
wrong.
doesn't care about that. Listen, Sola, you had strong words about top laners in ADC. Your response?
I think that Baus plays League like a solo game, like a single player game. He plays his playstyle and his way. And if it works, he carries, and if it doesn't work, he solo loses the game, right? That's Baus in solo queue. That's also why people either love him, mostly his viewers, or hate him if he runs your games down. That's just how Baus plays the game. And I think this kind of playstyle is very limited when it comes to coordinated 5v5 play, because as Skyyart just said, sometimes you are weak side and it's just objectively bad to flip.
Yeah.
And teams are very good in punishing people not respecting weak sides and stuff. So I think the way Bao sees the game and plays the game is just very easily abused in pro play, and I completely understand him, to be honest. But
Yeah.
it's just something
I
that
love
you
your
have
point.
to live
Dude,
with if you go pro play.
It's not a single player game. Like, I love that
It isn't.
perspective. You have to play with the team, and unfortunately, like, there's big conversations around meta falling in line with play styles. The game changes so much. You have to adapt as a team to what the Rift is telling you to do. Like, you can't do lane swaps anymore, you know, with role quests and whatnot. It's just the way the game's playing out. Okay, we'll come back to this in a second. Sola, I'm going to stick with you right now while Skyyart is looking into his audio issues. We do have a replay coming up in a second. As a fan of SK, who you're showing your loyalty, maybe above some other things. What happened in that game against KC, dude?
I mean, to be fair, what I like about the SK lineup, I think you actually said it in the last podcast, is they seem to play a bit of vibes, right? They are just friends playing together, and I just like the characters, and I like when teams try something out of the box, even though it didn't work for them yet. I like the idea, the concept at least. But I have to say, so far, one of the main issues for SK's leader is just incredibly underperforming, right? Like, he's probably the worst mid laner out of ADC versus right now. He's trying his special picks. He did the Aurelion against Caps, was horrible. He did the Echo, which is actually a good matchup against Azir, but still didn't really seem that useful. So I think it's a lot of it boils down to mid lane just underperforming right now.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing about that as well is when you are playing those unique picks, you have to deliver, right? If you are doing something a little bit different, you hope that it pops off. I've got some stats for you. Goal difference at 12, minus 383. CSD at 14, minus 16. XP difference at 12, minus 636. And he's still getting 21% jungle proximity, which is second highest in the league. So there's something not working. I think there's potential. I think things can work. Before we talk a little bit more about how it can work, let's talk about a replay. I asked you to prepare some homework for me. SK versus KC, it's, I think, a dragon fight. Why did you pick this replay?
I think this replay shows the issues that SK has quite well in-game. So I think there's two main things. The Nautilus pick in itself, I think we can cover after this replay. But here, it's pretty clear Mickey wants to fight the Drake. They are not in a position at all to fight. He just goes in anyways. He's like, guys, we are fucking fighting this. Let's go in. Nobody's ready. They just suicide. Drake is gone. 2 kills are gone. Mid lane wave is gone. And I think this pretty much sums up SK gameplay once they are behind, which is basically every game. Mickey wants to do something, but nobody is on the same page to actually do it. And what I mean with the Nautilus pick is, in this game, and I think we had it a couple of other games with other teams as well, they just blind the Nautilus. And I think blind picking Nautilus is a sign of not being able to play cohesively as a team if you don't have like the super easy tool where hook lands, everybody knows what to do. Like, Nautilus is just a huge band-aid for teams not being able to really function otherwise, I would say. And he went like 0-8 this game, so it was punished quite well from KC, also with the Leona picks. So yeah, I think those are the main 2 issues I would say right now.
There's something I do like about what you mentioned. When you do have a Nautilus that's that band-aid, there's a saying in English, KISS, K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, stupid. If you have something like that that can simplify it, it can help you engage, but you do need it to... You do need everybody to be on that same page. You know, you do need everybody to get that working. Skyyart, let me know when you are back. I can see you are working on this right now.
Very soon.
Okay, good. Right, we're going to move on to the next segment then. I want to talk about day 2. This is currently the Sola and Quickshot conversation. Let's take a look at the predictions for day 2, because if memory serves, the scores of day 2 looked a little bit different. Skyyart and Sola completely let me down. Out of all of the games and all the predictions, they got 2 of them correct. That's it. And they are different games as well. First of all, expecting Shifters to pick up the win over Na'Vi. Then Skyyart gets 1 point, whereas, once again, Sola goes SK. Both of them, actually all of us, surprised that Los Retons won. To be fair, I picked the troll thing. It was a throw. Koi managed to get a point there as well. And then we got Fnatic GX and G2 losing to KC.
Bon les gars, je suis désolé, j'étais en galère.
Sola,
C'est bon d'avoir
let's
ce
start
good.
with you,
On
my
va
man.
pouvoir parler normal.
What do you think of the results on day 2? And I think probably the Los Retones like win against Heretics. Like, is that the big news of the day?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I was expecting Lost Returns to go 0-11 after the first week, to be honest. But on the second day, Nemesis and Veya just completely smurfed it. Like, the Mundo pick was just comp-wise really broken. But Nemesis on Rise, I mean, what a beauty to watch.
Yeah.
On the third day as well, he just pulled his weight so much. So, yeah, I think there was a pretty big Nemesis show, and also Heretics choking a bit, I would say.
Yeah.
Not as much as Shifters on day 3, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I'm really just impressed, like, how Nemesis, Nemesis got hyped up over the last couple of years a lot, where people were saying he could play ADC anytime, like he's still ADC level, and I was a bit cautious about people still being on that level if they haven't played ADC for years.
Yeah.
But I have to say, like, Nemesis could easily be like upper half of LEC with a stronger team, like easy.
Yeah, but does that tell you that the rest of the mid lane is weak, or that he's that good? Skyyart, welcome back. What's your thoughts on Nemesis?
Yeah, it's good. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
It was tough, but now I'm here. Yeah, I think Nemesis actually his pick. I actually was 200 IQ. I believe that he cannot solo win. He didn't solo win, but I think he solo carried a lot, and I think he wasn't able to do it if he had like Azir, Oriana, or Talia, which is actually very meta actually for now. I think Rise is actually an amazing pick, and as you said, Mundo was actually also an amazing pick because it was pretty easy to play, just basically full clear and try to outscale. And when Rise hit 3 items, I think in a single fight, he can basically kill everyone. And he did. I mean, his positioning was amazing. And I think Nemesis and the draft helped so much for the victory.
Boys, you're building up hype for Los Ratones. You're building up hype for this team that they do have some wins, don't get me wrong, but not the most. Let's talk about mid lane in another game. We had a Zoe versus Swain in Vitality versus Shifters.
Yeah.
First of all, I was kind of smiling at that one. Skyyart, Vitality pick up the win. What did you make of that game, and maybe specifically on that mid lane matchup?
I think the mid lane matchup is interesting because when the Zoe hit his E, he is in very big problem. And he was running Ghost Flash, which was actually pretty smart. But his build, I was not sure because he was building full AP. I think it's pretty risky because I'm not sure he had to build full AP on this game specifically because basically if he doesn't get one shot from Zoe, he can have an amazing presence in the fight. But he did an amazing job with Zoe. It was just so accurate every time, and on the national fight, he just solo win the fight by just killing Swain alone.
Dude, I mean, there was like a 10,000 gold lead. I thought Linkers played really well early, and then Shifters come back in the game. Vitality pulled it back later. Sola, Vitality, Shifters, what did you make? Maybe like the individual players' performances.
Yeah, I think it was a banger game for sure. So Humanoid, by far his best performance of the split so far. I think he has been criticized quite a lot. I mean, he's kind of like the new Larson, who people just like to hate on, right? Where it's like, he's only in LEC because he's friends with Kazi and stuff like that. And I think he didn't really perform in the first week at all. And besides this Zoe game, he did have a rough patch, but the Zoe game was incredible. Like, I loved watching this champion be executed well. Just such joy.
You were
to watch.
sick. No, you're sick. I hate watching Zoe. It's
Nah. I
the
love watching
range.
it. I hate playing against it. I want to be on that one, but watching it, it's such a joy.
I still hate it. Like, just the damage. Like, I clench every time. You did say something that triggers my next replay. Talking about teams that have just not started particularly well. G2 still kind of suck, respectfully. Haven't quite lived up to the expectations. I know it is a team that does ramp up. I want to start. I've got 2 replays against this from their match against KC. The first one I'm going to talk about because I have questions for you guys. I want you to help me understand. What was Broken Blades Lee Sin trying to do here? I didn't see it working very well. He got solo killed very early on. And around 15 minutes into the game, it's kind of a nail in the coffin. So let's pull up this replay here for KCG2 number 1. And as I mentioned, 15 minutes in, it's 1,000 gold lead. While KC have got a couple dragons under their belts, look at the minimap here, right? Broken Blade's trying to set up on Kana, goes forward. I'm looking for the support. Caps isn't there. Scumon's not there. And it just fizzles. Like, what was supposed to happen, Skyyart?
To be fair, I think it was inaccurated. He tried to force plays because I believe he knows that. Okay, he had a 10 CS advantage on Kana early on, but I think 10 CS advantage and even 2 plays is not that much. And he made a mistake, got solo killed. I think Lee Sin top in pro play, to me, is pretty weak. Kabosha was playing it for KC. But I think the pick is just not good, to be fair. Even it's PO1, you know, it's PO1 draft, fearless draft. Maybe in game 5, and I would not be personally. And I think in game 5, late game compositions works even better. But I feel like Lee Sin needs so much execution from Broken Blade. But the thing is, he has an Alistar against him. It's just so easy, I believe, for Buzio to just counter him. And I believe if KC had the composition of G2, they would have lost as well. But maybe less than we did. Actually, we didn't play very well, to be fair. But
yeah, the thing is, like, Lee Sin is the second most played champ in solo queue right now. Broken Blade sits at like almost 70% win rate, 1.6k challenger, and he has 70% win rate on Lee Sin. And he actually picks it actively into Rumble. I checked, he won like 5 out of 6 games against that champ. And I think in isolation, the matchup is actually quite good because you can just sit in the wave, one-shot it with Hydra, face tank his flamethrower, and basically he's one of the only like carry top lanes that doesn't really lose to Rumble. But as you said, in team comps where a champ like Alistar can basically completely neutralize the pick, I think it becomes much harder to execute. And he also, to be honest, didn't really mechanically play the champ that well, which can happen, right? That's one of the risk factors with playing Lee Sin. I think the pick looked much worse because they were also losing the other side of the map. I think bot lane was also a pretty big issue in this game, and it made the pick look a lot worse than it should have been.
Skyyart, tell me a little bit about why that happened. I've got another replay here. It's a few minutes later. While we're watching the replay, tell me what KC did really well to maintain that control and kind of take over the game.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay, yeah. So Yehu is trying to pressure Broken Blade. Broken Blade is, I mean, when he uses kick, the fight is pretty much over because he is lost. Buzio will cut his pass, and I think there is here pretty much no way to win. We tried. I think we are kind of happy, I believe, to do a 4-on-4 without Kalis, because Kalis, I think, was ahead from Ansama even at that time. But the thing is, the game is super hard. And I believe the Aatrox was very, very nice draft because we have very, very few damage in reality with Galio, with Xin, with Lee Sin. All the damage is pretty much on Sama, I believe. So killing Aatrox in team fight seems very hard, I believe. And all that champion are actually outscaling us so much. So I think the 4v4 fight was okay, but since Lee Sin has no kick, I'm not sure we can win.
Yeah, it felt a little bit to me like the guys were not 100% on the same page, like almost always reactionary and then not, being in a position to set it up. Ultimately, KC pick up a win. I think Sola, if I remember correctly, you said you think they're the strongest team right now. I'm going to come back to that later on. Before that, let's talk about day 3. Let's bring the predictions up because for the third and final day, we've got some wild results. First of all, SK pick up a win against KC Blue. Brice, our Italian costume, is the only one that said KC Blue going to win that. Everybody predicts Shifters. We had that amazing throw by Shifters and Los Ratanas pick it up. I mean, it's a fact. And then throughout the rest of the day, KC take out Na'Vi, GX take out Koi. I mean, pretty good prediction, across the board. Let's just talk about that throw. Sola, how can that happen, man?
Yeah, I mean, so the first thing I want to talk about in this game is actually Rooster and Paddock. I think they both just disrespected Los Ratanas insanely hard. Like, both the Nidalee top lane and the Lucian pick were complete like it was complete troll. Like bot lane counter picked themselves. Lucian is not good into Caitlyn, and top lane Nidalee. We saw what Nida with 4K gold lead does in late game. So I think they were just insanely cocky, and I'm kind of happy they got punished for it. but also again, late game, Lost Tones just team fought really, really well, you have to say. And the comp that Shifters played just doesn't scale, right? They don't have a clear front line, not really any late game hyper carry. And then again, just Nemesis on Rise doing wonders in late game.
Yeah, and why you not banning Rise when you saw the only win that Lost Fortunes has? I mean, for me, it's so weird. If I'm a team, I would ban Nemesis Rise. He cannot carry that much if he has like all the champions. So why would you let him reach level 16 and maybe win the fight nearly by himself if he is not focused? And guess what? He will not get focused once. So and I agree with you, Sola. I mean, Lucian and Nidalee top. I mean, Nidalee top was played in LCK by some players like Zeus. The thing is, even with 3K more gold. I mean, he did a pretty good lane, to be fair, but
He did for sure, yeah.
it's not enough.
Also,
it's not enough.
The gold lead was ridiculous. I mean, the game was supposed to be in favor of why am I
shifters,
right?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I mean, 10,000 gold lead by 29 minutes. So even though it's a disrespectful pick, it worked, Sola. So like, are you really that angry about it?
It did work, but I think he would probably be 3K ahead on any champion, and he could have picked something that actually does something in late game. I mean, they were in the base. I think probably the call was also a bit too greedy to go for the finish play. I think if they reset, wait for the next Nash. But then again, you pick yourself into a comp that gets outscaled, which just
so you have to do it.
Exactly. It makes it more likely that you feel pressure to be like, we have to finish, else it gets hard. So I think it's a bit of both worlds. And also regarding the bans, I totally agree. I think the two bans which do make sense, again, are the Cyan and the Mundo. I think they are pretty much locked against Lost Tones. But then they banned Orianna. So, I mean, Nemesis is good on Orianna for sure.
It's not the same.
But as you said, it's not a champion that you 1v9 as hard on as Rise. Like, just go for the Rise ban, and I think that's going to be the 3 lock bans for playing against Lost Tones going forward.
And I believe Gragas also was a good pick, because Gragas, even if you are very behind, which Both was pretty behind many times, is still pretty useful. I mean, you can peel for Rise, you can maybe make a move. You even with less god than in Italy, it can be as useful in a team fight in certain situation. And we will see. I mean, for me, the play to finish was, as you say, it's a bit tricky because they know they get escalated, etc. But they will focus Pantheon and Gragas. If we have the video, I would love to see the fight, because true. I think the fight is for me it's terrible. The fight
unfortunately,
is terrible.
I don't have it prepared for today.
But
I know exactly what you mean, because it's the final moments, you know.
Yeah, the final moment. Bukada is actually ulting Gragas. And Rise had no Zonia by that time.
Do you think the boys are just a little bit out of focus? Like they're up so much gold. I think they do have that pressure, Sola, you talked about in terms of the comp, and like I hate the word, but like, are they too hyphy? You know, they push forward. And the reason I think I can back that up, let's take a look at Nuke's reaction, because he had some very powerful tweets after the game. He tweeted them in French. I have chosen one of them to read to you, and I've translated it to English. But he said, "Have fun insulting us because we lost a game. If that gets you off so much, the better. Next week, there will be some changes. Inshallah, we're fixing our decision-making and initiative-taking problems for next week." Now, this is one of the safer tweets out of the collection that he had. And Skyyart, I don't know how much you know Nuke, and you know, seeing him tweeting in French and seeing the French community's reaction, but like, what's your emotional response to that?
To me, it's a bit unprofessional, to be fair, but I believe the last fight for me is like it's even a bad fight for like LFL. So to me, there is no way that Bukada and Trimby engage like this. Like, Trimby goes for Crony, he only gets reclass, and Bukada ulti both, and both, like, here is just pretty useless. And Nemesis didn't even get touched before the fight was over already. And for me, it's the only focus. You cannot ignore Nemesis all the fight. It's just not possible. So I believe the defeat was really deserved. And I just like you said, Sola, they were cocky in the draft, and they were actually executing very badly to me for LEC team, I believe. So I was happy that LR won. Again, me too. I mean, if you win when you play like this, oh man. So yeah, Nuke was actually upset, and I believe he can be. And I think the way you improve is basically you make mistakes and you try to fix it. So it's just the early. It's we are early in the year, so as soon as they see that it was very bad choices and they fix it, it can be better.
Sola, do you have anything to add on to that one? I think maybe the question I'll ask you as a step removed. Do you think Nuke's reaction to that also plays off the emotions that came from that game because of the lead, maybe the boldness?
I
maybe...
mean, for sure.
Yeah.
I think if you're an LEC team playing against Lost Ratones, you have pressure just out of principle because you're an LEC team, right? You can't lose. And I think probably the last fight also boils down to them feeling pressure in the moment because they know they get outscaled. They know the game is kind of feeling hard to finish. You know, like when you play the game, you have like a certain feeling of, is the game easy to win? Is it hard? Is it like, what's the current situation like? And I think at that point they already felt like, okay, we kind of do get outscaled. Like if we don't finish it right here, then we might actually lose. And then you have that like thing going on in your head, like, oh my god, we might actually lose to Lost Ratones. Like what the fuck? No, we can't do that. And then they actually play worse because of that. And I think that's probably a lot of what happened. And I mean, surely if you lose a game like that, you should be mad at yourself and at your team. And I hope they can work on it constructively. Because like that can pretty much break a team if it doesn't.
The end of that tweet, end of the tweet says things will be changed. The ones before that, somebody needs a hug.
More emotional.
Somebody needs a hug is the way I'll put it. Okay, gentlemen, before we move on and start like talking about some of the topics and zooming out as well, later on in the day, G2 smashed Heretics. KC took down Navi again. I think pretty one-sided. GX surprised by taking down Koi. Skyyart, of the other games on the day, is there anything that stood out to you that you'd love to just mention before we move on?
On the day 3, you mean?
Yes, day 3.
I think GX winning against Koi was pretty amazing because Koi was looking for me one of the best teams, and I'm not personally a fan of Elise Caitlyn bot lane. I think it's very strong in lane, but he had no cleans on his Caitlyn, and he can basically get engaged, and if Noah dies, it's not that easy to win the fight, I believe. For me, June was building Proto Belt's second item on Elise, not Michael. I mean, a Michael Crucible on Elise sounds weird, but I believe if Noah survives, the fight is won. And they nearly managed to come back, Koi. If the last fight, basically, they kill Noah, the game will starting to be very weird. But yeah, Giant X looks pretty strong, I believe.
I'm surprised.
Giant X really relies on their bot lane, right? I mean,
I agree.
Kind of like have to just outplay enemies.
Yeah, I agree.
But so far they are doing that almost every game. So they look like the strongest bot lane for me.
Strongest.
I mean, for me, June was maybe the strongest support.
Wow. Okay.
And Jackies, I was not sure. Jackies wasn't performing that well, I believe, but it's fine. There is leader.
Yeah, exactly. So Sola, quick, do you have any other final thoughts of any of the other games on day 3?
Yeah, I think the G2 game showed quite well why Varus shouldn't be open right now. I think Hansama is having not the best start of the season, but on Varus, like, it's one of his most played champs, one of his comfort champs, and Varus is really good at just hiding mechanical issues or matchup issues. So even before the buffs, right? He was basically permaban 100% win rate, and now after the buffs, he's really strong in solo queue, which means he's completely broken in competitive. And I think Ice was really mad at his coach after the game. Like, he picked Jhin. Maybe he was the one saying, I just go Jhin, it's fine. But I can like trust me, it's never fine to play against Pokevarus. It's never fine. Like he was stuck under turret for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
He didn't get to play the game, and it was just miserable for him. And I don't think we are gonna see any Varus in this.
Let's build on that as well, because you talked last week about wanting to see more Aphelios. I felt like we did see some more Aphelios. I didn't actually look at the numbers of how many, but meta shift from week 1 to week 2. Is there anything that you noticed, liked, or disliked, Sola?
I like the teams were a bit more ambitious with the counter picks. Like we did have some different answers to the top lane, not Cassandra Rumble every game. We did see some Gwen into Cassandra. We did see the Lee Sin into Rumble, even though it didn't work. And also on bot lane, we saw a bit more Yunara getting punished by the Aphelios, as you said. Just in general, a lot more. People were just willing to try out things a bit more. I would say
A little bit more
we did see
versatile.
The Echo, the Zoe, just some interesting stuff. So I like going forward. I think we will keep seeing a bit more of those niche picks, especially from the bottom tier teams. I would say, because it feels like we talked about it right in the beginning that the ladder already seems quite solved. Like the bottom 6, I would say they seem much weaker than the top 6. And especially in best of ones, you can cheese wins with good picks. So I think we keep seeing some weird stuff, the good weird stuff though.
Yeah, I'm not sure Echo Mid is a good weird stuff, but
I mean,
I'm a big defender of Gwen top, by the way. I think Gwen top right now, for me, is actually super, super strong. And it was very strong in the LCK. They had like maybe 70% win rate, but win rate doesn't mean anything, right? Basically, because basically it depends on which team used it. But every Gwen was pretty successful. The Gwen from Naknako was actually very good, but when you press tabs, it's so that your teams were 8k behind. So maybe it was a tough game. I think Broken Blade managed to play it against the Gwen very, very well. But I feel like Gwen is a win condition by himself so much. I mean,
if you can play it, the thing is, a Korean Gwen is very different to a European Gwen as well.
Yeah,
right? Like
maybe you're right. Maybe
Korean,
you're right. Yeah.
Korean Jace is different. Like going into week 1, looking at Jace jungle, and so many people talking about Jace jungle and how much going to do. And I'm like, bruh, I know it's banned a lot as well, but like there's an execution ability that needs to get pulled off as well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm not watching other regions right now. I'm just focusing on LEC.
Sure.
But let's talk about teleport, because I was hoping top laners would be more adventurous and we'd see a few more people not taking it. But it feels like teleport mid lane is pretty much dead. Is that just a European thing, or is that kind of happening around the world as well?
No, it was happening a lot in LCK. I believe it was even happening before in LCK, especially at first in Rise against Talia matchup. I believe with the fast recall and the ultimate, you have an insane presence, and it's pretty. And also with the home guard, basically all the way. Being late in a Drake is not super easy, I would say. So I think it changed the tempo a lot. I think we have more action basically, and the game are harder to finish. I think it's pretty cool casting the games, even if you can feel. How do you say, Sola? It's sometimes very hard to hand. The games feel sometimes pretty hard to hand. I would say harder than before. Maybe do you think so, Sola?
Yeah, I would agree, because, right, as you said, like you get the first Nash and you can't really break open the base with the Nash, and you need at least the second Nash, and even then you probably can't really finish it. So I totally agree with you that the Gwen is probably gonna see more play, especially when people just start banning the Rumble every game. Because, as you said, like having Gwen is always a win condition, right? You are always afraid of a 4-item Gwen just one-shotting your entire team. And I think the only reason that Gwen wasn't really successful is because it was picked from the losing team just both games. So I think you're
best of
totally
ones.
right. Like
We're not going to get enough like sample
hard.
size as well. You know, when you've got
That's true as well.
few number of games against top tier teams and stuff like that, it makes a difference. Right, gentlemen, I want to move us along. I think we've talked a lot about week 2.
Okay.
one of the segments and the features we're going to do here on HopEUm a lot is reach out to the fans, reach out to the community, and have them give us some questions, have them ask us some questions that they're interested in, whether it's the game, whether it's the meta, whether it's teams. So from the G2 Discord, we have a HopEUm channel there. I have gathered 5 questions from you, and the very first one is coming from somebody named Alex. So Alex asked us, what are your biggest overreactions after 2 weeks of LEC versus? I'll give you one that's a bit of a surprise because I have been a bit of a Los Retons hater. I'm not going to lie. I didn't have many expectations. But after seeing how some of the games are played, my overreaction will be that a team like Los Retones has higher potential than 3 or 4 of the current LEC teams.
Okay.
I believe they could do more than lower ranks. I'm not going to go into names right now, but that's my overreaction.
Okay,
Skyyart,
okay.
what's yours?
About what you said or about the reaction?
No, what's
okay.
your overreaction?
Okay. My reaction after seeing 2 weeks, I didn't watch all LEC game before. I was a bit more expert about LCK. Is some players are sometimes like tilting or inting. I mean, sometimes they turn into solo queue mode and they just face check the bush. Like I think it was Paris with Nautilus and face checking a bush. He had a word. He's thinking about posting an emote and not flashing, not grabbing the wall, not wording. I was like, what?
Can I tell everybody this? Here's a little secret to anybody who doesn't watch enough broadcasts. This is Skyyart saying a lot of players suck, but he's trying to be nice about it. So
No, not every time, but sometimes. I mean, sometimes I go crazy. I mean, the move is just very bad, and it was like, what the hell, bro? And if I have to make a note take, I would say it's coming more often from support. I would say so, but I think supporting maybe you take more risk because you have to take vision, etc. So maybe you get punished more often. But I would say it's a bit more from support than other roles.
Sola, what's your overreaction after 2 weeks?
My overreaction is that AD carry is completely broken and needs to be nerfed because every game there's just some AD carry one-shotting everything, penta-killing. We did see a double penta-kill, and on the next day in Asia there was another double penta-kill from Sivir, I think. So AD carry is completely busted right now, and I think it's
from an AD carry.
And this is from an AD carry. Yes, from an AD carry.
Normally, AD carry when you 1v9 it. No, my role is very bad. I can't.
Yeah, exactly. Play the game. To be fair, listen. In what 12, 13 years, no more of this game. This might be the most powerful AD carry has ever been.
Yeah.
We'll see how long it lasts. Okay, listen, we got more questions.
Yeah,
Let's move on to question 2. Question 2.
Yeah.
Wicked on Discord asks us, what are your thoughts on trash talking nowadays? Do new pros lack fun personalities, or the interviewers lower quality and they don't bring it out of the pros? Sola, as someone who spent a lot of time on broadcast, what's your take on this?
I think there's actually less trash talking. I would say there are still personalities, like Wanda, for example, who has like a lot of experience under spell, Broken Blade. There's still like personalities, but I would say being a pro player, like being good enough to play LEC, is just so much harder than it was 10 years ago that you basically need to know live League of Legends for 10 or maybe not 10, but 5-6 years during your youth, where people that are like funny, witty, smart about how the way they talk and entertainers, they just fall off the bandwagon and are not good enough to be pro players anymore. So I think it's probably just because you can't really do anything except play League for 15 hours a day. Otherwise, you won't become a pro. At least that's like my take.
Yeah, I think it can be. I can be agree with this. I think also they don't really think about personal branding when they are pretty young. I think it's also about this, where like BB is very fun to listen in interviews. Some players like Faker, I am a fan of Faker, but in interview, like it's Yeah, it's
Very
friendship
dry.
power. It's thanks to my
Yeah.
fan. Yeah, yeah.
Very PR, very
Yeah.
PR.
24-0. Yeah, I did play it
Yeah.
correctly this game. Yeah.
My opponents, I respect them. They tried their hardest. I'm like, no, you just shat on them. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, literally.
Let's be honest
I
sometimes.
actually remember though. You cast LCK, right, Skyyart? So
Yeah,
you
I
probably know that there's always. I think it's at the beginning of the year or something. There's like a fun match where 5 AD carries play against 5 junglers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I watched Faker cast. I think it was last year. He casted the game.
Okay,
and he
I
was
didn't saw it.
actually really funny. Like he
Oh,
can
okay.
be funny if he wants to. So I think he's
I'll
just
tell you
really
this as well.
professional in the interviews.
He is. No, he is.
Okay.
Also, even I've been very fortunate to have been backstage and seeing Faker interacting without cameras around.
Oh, okay,
And
amazing.
He's a troll. Like, he's actually a troll. Like, friendly and polite. But you know,
No.
when you're not things like he messes around,
Oh.
he has a lot of fun, but he's the poster boy of professional league. So right, let's move on. I got another question for you guys.
Sure.
It's actually a follow-on, and Sola, I'll start with you because Lord Flab from our G2 Discord asks, what are your thoughts on players making their own brand while within the esports ecosystem? And you just mentioned a little bit how modern day league, it's hard to do that. But then you've got a team like Los Ratones who are a bunch of people who have old brands and they're there. So how does this work?
Yeah, I think adding to the point from before, it's really, really hard to do that as a pro player because every hour you put into branding is an hour you're not playing solo queue, right? So we had a big debate in the German scene like a couple of years ago about this as well, where basically every org was saying players need to brand themselves and stuff like that. And on an like amateur level, I actually agree because it's the only way you can live from playing the game, right? But on LEC, you are able to live from just being good at the game. So I think for sure it's cool if a player has the incentive to brand themselves well, but I think it's also really hard to do it nowadays. Like back in the day, you basically had 100K followers on Twitter just by being a pro, right? Like you don't pull that numbers anymore. So it's harder to be a pro and it's also harder to brand than before. And I think it's just a really hard combination to pull off nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. It takes time basically to create content and to share your thought about the game. And the more you do, the less you try hard, and you start to fall behind if you try to make everything. And basically, what will make you still a top player LEC is your level, basically of understanding the game. So the harder you work, the harder you sacrifice, the less you can make a brand.
I'll say this as well, though, where the opportunities are present, as you know, I was somebody that was in charge of helping build the Shoutcasters brands and hiring people and stuff. Now, the context is extremely different. I'm well aware of that fact. However, on every broadcast, there are opportunities where you can. I think like Jojo Pune is a perfect example in my mind of somebody who, whenever there is a moment, he steals the spotlight or he's brave enough to be in the spotlight. He says some dumb things, like as a pro player, as a teammate, like, but holy crap, doesn't it make me as a viewer more invested in watching, right? I'm excited to see him fail or I'm excited to see him succeed, or like you love to hate him, you love to love him. There are opportunities. Not everybody can. Like, let's be realistic. Not everybody has, the time, and there's too many players. But I do think as a fan and a viewer, I like to see it when players are brave enough to try.
I love it. I love it. And I think it's so good for esport basically, because people will be much more engaged. As you say, some people are going to hate, some people are going to love, but people are going to watch and people are going to be very engaged. So, but sometimes community are a bit harsh. I mean, it's when even if people are trash talking or making banters, it creates content and basically we are enjoying more. It's not another game basically.
I think our entire industry needs to move a couple of steps away from social media, but it's really hard because of Twitch and streaming, and like we are so close, because it's a toxic relationship. And like there's no other sport in the world, there's no other media business in the world where we're this close, right? But this is a topic for another day and a different podcast. This is not a business one. Okay, I've got another question. Noah from Discord asks a little bit of a spicier one. I'm gonna start with you, Skyyart. Why are we forced to have BO1s if most EU West fans find them uninteresting and harmful to players? Do you agree?
I'm a BO1 hater, so I agree. I mean, BO1, I think it's bad for a different reason. I think it's bad because the pick's going to be 80% of the time the same, I believe. As you said, there is some original pick, but when the originality comes from leader with echo, I'm not into it. And I think in BO1, you don't have the choice. You have to play pretty much meta. At least you have to make a very good composition, and there's not that many, to be fair. So I believe BO1 is less good for this because it will entertain less people, at least for me as well. And I think the only good thing about BO1 is as every team plays, they bring every team's fans, and I think it's the only one reason they are doing it.
Yeah. Sola, do you think so?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the only reason we do have BO1s is so Lost Ratones plays every day, so Keiko plays every day.
Yeah.
And it's just for the ecosystem and the numbers, I think it makes sense. Competitive-wise, best of threes are better for sure.
That's the balance. Competition versus
You
entertainment.
need to find the blends. I mean, we only have like 4 weeks of best of ones, and then we are heading to BO3. So
It's
I
fine.
think it's like a good middle ground. I
Yeah,
would
but
say.
hang on. It's fine. 4 weeks of BO1s versus 4 weeks of BO3s and LCK and LPL. We are not comparing practice regimes the same. The reason I'll say that is you've also got to factor in broadcast costs and studio and staffing and all of that. Like there's all factors that run into it. But the reason I bring up competition is our next question from Jin Wick 4th, which is an amazing username, by the way. Jin Wick 4. Why do you believe, what do you believe are the main causes that we only see one Western team qualifying for playoffs each year at Worlds? I'll go straight up. It's the quality of practice, number one. I think the number of teams that are international level is lower in both North America, Europe, South America. Therefore, because the top of the table have fewer opponents to compete against at their level, you aren't able to make that gap when you go to a boot camp, when you go to international tournaments. If I draw a comparison from Counter-Strike, Europe in Counter-Strike is consistently one of the best, right? Because there are so many incredible teams and the power dynamics shift between countries and players. And as they do, everyone adapts to one another. But if we are honest with ourselves, there are 3 or 4, maybe, international level teams pretty much at any point in European history. And therefore, that's why I think only ever one team make it. You got a pool of 4, they have to kill each other and one of them survives. Skyyart, what do you think?
Okay, I came from CS actually. I was playing Counter-Strike pretty well because I'm old basically. So I was playing 1.6 before playing Dota, before playing League of Legends basically. But I think it's a bit different because the reason I believe we are not that good at League is not that because we are not putting the effort. I think LEC teams are putting as much effort as Counter-Strike. The thing is, the level of competitivity that is forced by Korean players is less intense on Counter-Strike because I don't play Counter-Strike basically. So I think in competition, I've done many in different games and multi-gaming as well. The level of sacrifice you have to do to be number one depends on your competitors. If a competitor of yours is working like 15 hours a day, you have to work as much or
16.
you will lose. Yeah, you have to work 16.
Work the same or harder. Yeah.
More harder and smarter. And I believe that Korean people, they have such a high level of, I would say, competitivity. They sacrifice everything, basically. If they are not top 3 LCK, there are no one. So they are trying their best to be very number one. I mean, when you are number one in Europe, in international event, it's gonna be tough because basically there was only one slot for last year. I've done the math about what was the proportion of. I think it was 60% of around 60% of the chance that Asian team were killing each other. I mean, 4 team LPL, 4 team LCK, and it was like 60% one of them beat one of them. So at least one Western team, we don't know who, but we'll pass whatever it takes. And 40%, that's maybe we have to beat an LPL LCK team, which is a bit harder.
So what you're actually saying is we don't qualify for playoffs. We're just lucky to get into playoffs, right? Because of the team kill. In
the previous years, I think whatever happens, one Western team was going to qualify. And now it's even better because now it's only 7 teams from East because there are 3 LPL, 3 LCK, and LCK LPL fighting each other, T1 against IG. So there will be maybe 1.4 Western team going to quarterfinals, but it has to be the best team. But sometimes you get unlucky. But so I believe the difference is not only BO1. I think it's the level of sacrifice, and China has much more players. In Korea,
so many more. Yeah.
And in Korea, there was actually so many players in Korea play League of Legends. I mean, when I was grinding like 3 years ago, I grind and I compare, the master tier and the GM tier prestige player, like from ELO base. And Korean, 4.4 million people were actually playing ranked. In EU West was 2.8. In EU East was 2.8, 2.1. So many players here. Yeah.
Culturally as well, I stand to be corrected on this, but I think it was something like 30 or 40% of the population of South Korea have played League of Legends. Just stop and think about that for a second,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, I don't even think 30 or 40% of the population of Germany and France can or have played football. Like, I don't know. Maybe they have. Maybe that's a bit of a thing. But okay, Sola, what's your take here? Why do you think only one team can make it? Is
I think you could basically do a whole podcast just regarding that topic, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I totally agree. I think it's a cultural thing. Like, Korea is just a very intense hustle culture, right? Comparing yourself, being the best is just ingrained into them, combined with like the whole PC bank culture, like just amount.
Also, there's respect. There's respect to be good at esports.
Exactly. I think if you meet someone at the street in Korea and you tell them like you're challenger, I think they will be like 10 times more likely to respect you and be impressed than if you tell it someone on the street in Germany, right? They'd be like, what the fuck is the challenger? Like, who are you challenging? So they don't know what you're talking about. And I have a hot take for you, Quickshot. So I would say the only reason why Europe is so good at CS is because it hasn't caught on in Korea. I would say if Korea was big in CS, maybe it's not even a hot take, but I think if Korea would play CS as much as they would play League, they would be the best by far.
I'll tell you this, like, I don't know if you look into in any of the other FPS titles, but like
well.
Crossfire is a title that's massive there, right? And it's
China
it's interesting in itself.
More
China
and
Korea? South Korea.
Oh, okay.
Both. It was at Esports World
right?
Cup, and I got to see it. Valorant is pretty good, and the Korean teams are good, but they don't shine as much as some of the other regions, right? And also Valorant is, I don't think you can put Valorant and CS side by side. I think Valorant is its own little genre, But Skyyart, let's go. One more thought before I move on, because I've got some rage.
I follow Sola on his hot take. I would even more say, if any games was as popular as League in Korea, I mean, I'm from France, and French are proud to be good at Rocket League. But basically, we are the only one playing Rocket League like 3 years ago. I mean, no one cares about Rocket League except France. So we were like, Rocket League, we are the best, but we are the only team, basically. So I mean, in Rocket League, I was like a bit mad because people were saying, Rocket League is so mechanical that no other countries can reach our level. But I believe it's false. I mean, we are just 50% of the player base, I would say. So because some French team were good, so many players played. But I believe if Rocket League or Valorant or Counter-Strike was League of Legends in Korea, I mean, it would be the same. So I'm totally agree with you, Sola, and I believe it's the same in every games.
Yeah, I will say this as well. I 100% agree. Culturally, it makes a big thing. One last thing for everybody that's listening. There's a bit of a joke that I've heard several times, that because esports has been around for so long, so institutionally and culturally and television and sponsors and everything, it's so much more well known in South Korea because it's been around for so much longer. And StarCraft Brood War was more popular than League is now back in the day. There's a joke that if you want to get married, you have to challenge your partner's father to a game of StarCraft and beat him in StarCraft to earn that. It's a bit of a joke. It's not real, but like it tells you things. They learn English by looking at StarCraft single player campaigns quotes in English books. Like they have Reyna from the Terran, his face, his picture with the English lines and the Korean words. Right. So that does it on the final question. I'm going to move us on. And gentlemen, I'm going to put you in a bit of an uncomfortable situation now, because One of the segments that I'm going to be running infrequently on our HopEUm podcast, I call it Regional Rage Bait. Regional Rage Bait, okay? I will be
Okay.
directing at least one of the 4 to each of you specifically. Feel free to chime in. But this first one is up dealer's choice. Whoever wants to
So
jump in
you are the
first.
one rage baiting us, or
I
how is
am
it going?
indeed. I'm
Okay,
raging
okay,
both of
okay.
your streams. I'm raging both of your communities. We're going to
Okay.
start with someone who's not here, that cannot defend themselves. But I'm going to be insulting both of you. Spanish LEC players are more impressive than any other European country.
Well, I give you the first word, Skyyart. I think you are more offended than me.
To be fair, when Koi proposed his 5 Spanish roster, I wasn't thinking it would work. So I was wrong. Actually, they did very well, to be fair. So yeah, better.
How-
I'm not sure. I think in Europe the talents are pretty spread, and French is number 1. I would say this.
Sola, did I hear this correctly? For the first 80% of that, Skyyart agreed that Spanish LEC players are more impressive. That's
It
what he
sounds
said.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I
think
said Spanish players are better.
Correctly,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course,
Okay.
of course.
Okay. What's your take, Sola?
I would actually agree with the take. Yeah, I think France and Spain is really close. So I think it will probably, because like league nowadays is much more popular in France than it is in Spain. It feels
Yeah.
like, right? At least in like the regional leagues are much bigger. So I think it will probably shift a bit. But right now, like France and Spain are pretty much head to head. But achievement wise, Spanish players should be ahead of the curve a bit. Yeah.
Sola, German pro players are the most boring players who are skilled.
Let me think about it. Honestly, it's not even rage bait. I think you're totally right. Yeah. I think we are boring but efficient.
That's
Broken Blade is probably the only exception. Like, Broken Blade plays cool champions and is funny, and every other pro that is German is just good at the game. Yeah, I agree.
I started looking back and I was like, the last person that I really fell in love with who stood out, maybe doesn't, it was like Power of Evil, was kind of the last name. But I look back and I'm like, I think this is okay. So we agree. Skyyart,
Yeah.
even French fans agree. Okay, I'll say this again.
Oh wow.
Even French fans agree that KC supporters are a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. I'll expand on this. How do French non-KC fans
Mhm.
feel about the KC Blue Wall?
It depends. Basically, KC Blue Wall is. I mean, the strength of KC is that Kamel, the CEO of KC, is an amazing guy and he's very passionate about the game. So he knows how to bring people. And personally, I love passionate people. When you listen to passionate person, they bring with you. They bring you with them. So Kamel bring a lot of people to his passion. And he did a lot basically for the French community of League of Legends, because he made people more engaged about League of Legends. So people love storyline that are winning. So G2 fans, KC fans, and KC has more fun in France for sure, because Kamel make it personal. You know, you want
We
to,
do know.
Okay, it's like a shonen, but there is a downside, because when you have a lot of people, you also have some people that are not nice, and the thing is, it can be sometimes very oppressing for some people to have some people just being not nice on Twitter, for example, and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
it's I would say it's the two sides of a sword. You know,
Yes.
he is very strong, but on the other side, you bring some people which are a bit dumb. I would say some
know
people
what?
are aggressive for nothing.
That's perfect. That was the soundbite that I wanted. Thank you, Skyyart. I have one last one, and next time I do this, I'm going to be more inflammatory. But in 2026, the LCS is stronger than the LEC.
Nah,
2026?
I think
Why?
no.
Right now, today, the LCS is stronger than the LEC.
Literally said on stream yesterday in the LEC broadcast that top teams are close, but the LEC has less quality of players. Like, if somebody knows about LEC, then it's Buzio. I would agree. I think like top 3 LCS teams can be as good or maybe even better than top 3 LEC teams at any given time. But if you even though our bottom tier teams are quite bad, I would say the whole of LCS is actually much worse than the whole of LEC. Like, I think it's not even close.
You are so angry, Sola.
I am angry.
Skyyart, what
I
do you
mean,
think?
I want to be rage-based,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Nice rich mate, but I don't watch NA often.
Okay.
To be fair, when I watch mid-game NA, I basically close. I believe, as Sola said, I mean, FlyQuest was actually playing pretty well, and I enjoyed a lot casting some of the games, and I wasn't an NA fan. Let's be honest. NA was probably for me a wild card region. So yeah. Let's say
I like this. LCS is a wildcard region, and mid games are so bad, Skyyart turns them off. That's what we heard today. Okay,
I'm rage-baiting a bit.
That's good. That's the intent. I want to see if this gets clipped out. Okay.
No. Oh my god.
That does it for this little section. I only just have one more question for you guys before we start to wrap up and look ahead. Because we have 3 guys sitting in a call that have been around as long as one another. And that's a bit of a rarity in my experience when it comes to working on broadcasts, when it comes to working with players, co-streamers. Everybody's younger than me, always. And everyone's had less time. So I want to ask the 3 old men here, what are some of your, what is one of your favorite memories from years and years and years ago? I'll start. This is both a humble brag, not so humble brag, and a fond memory. But watching H2K play against Samsung Galaxy in a World Semifinal in Madison Square Garden. It was a story that shouldn't have happened. I had the biggest amount of love for Vander in support. Knew him behind the scenes and watching him on that stage. I also had the pleasure of commentating that game. But at 2015, yeah, it was 2016. It was 2016. In Madison Square Garden for the first time, for that team, for the players with the story around Forgiven and Ryu. Yankos was there. Like that entire series is one of my fondest memories, and I think about it so often. So Skyyart, what's one of your favorite kind of old school memories when you go back years and years?
I would say it's hard to say. I think one of my first big memories was the backdoor of XPK. I was literally jumping on my chair, and it was a dumb move from PK, to be fair.
Yeah, it was awesome, though.
He could just base, get full life, and win the game, but it was history. And seeing, it was against Ocelot and PK was, I think,
the matchup.
Maybe the 2 faces of the league. And for me, it was amazing. I mean, I liked XPK. I think the player, I was competing against him, and I think he was a good guy. And also, it wasn't a bad guy, but he was more, I would say, a businessman. He was a personal branding guy. And
back then as well, the storyline between them, SK Fnatic as well, because of they were really good in other games. They were competitive. It
Exactly.
makes me. There's not that many people nowadays that watched that live. Sola, did you watch that one? And what's one of yours?
I don't even remember if I watched it live, actually.
Okay.
I did play League back then, but I don't remember if I watched it live. But for me, I would say one of my favorite memories is 2015 World Final. I think, the final was in Berlin.
It was, yeah.
And it was like the first year where the German broadcast really exploded. We got really, we were quite huge back then, and we were pulling a lot of numbers, and a lot of people watched us, but we didn't really get any on-field support from Riot. So we wanted to be in the booth. Like nowadays it's completely normal with the co-streams, but back then we begged them to do it, and they wouldn't let us. Like we wanted to have like a small, 2 square meters room on World's Finals in Berlin. We didn't get it. So what we did was we rented a hall 2 kilometers next to the final area, and we managed to pull in 3,000 viewers, and we basically did a co-stream with 3,000 viewers 2 kilometers next to the arena.
Was that at Arena Berlin? That was just on the other side of the river.
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
Okay, I was the medal boy for that. So I stood next to Mark Merrill and I held the medals. That's it. I didn't do anything else on that show. And I remember looking around going, I will never do this. I want to shoutcast the next final. Like that was a motivating. I almost left the venue to come and watch with you guys because it's closer to where I lived. And I'll tell you this, the English broadcast crew, and especially Shocks and I, we were talking about it as well. Like, it was awesome. I remember that now that you've triggered my memory.
Great. Like, it's
Congratulations.
a classic thing where something like bad becomes something good, you know? The event would have never happened if we got our small booth. So in the end, it was something. And we actually repeated it like 4 years later when G2 went to the finals in 2019. We got the same arena. We pulled in 3,000 viewers again. And we had like 3,000 masks of the G2. You know, back in the day when G2 had this like face mask a bit more present. So we had like a whole arena full of G2 masks. And then they got stomped. So unlucky. But it was still amazing.
The German fans at Munich for Red Bull League of Its Own is one of the most amazing German crowds that I've ever been part of. We know German fandom is not quite what Spanish or French is, right? They are loud, they cheer up, but in Munich, I was like, whoa, the young generation of viewers they're on a different level, you know? When you start looking at No Way and you start listening to Maxim and like them getting the crowd up and running. Okay, I'm going to pause this now. That's really good for looking back. The last topic I have is now looking ahead to LEC Week 3. Gentlemen, I've loved this conversation and now I want to get some predictions, okay? LEC Week 3, Day 1. These are going to be the first few matches, okay? We got Heretics SK, Navi GX, Shifters Fnatic, but will it be Shitters or Shifters? KCB versus G2. Be hilarious if G2 lost that game. KC Vitality, the All French Affair, and then Koi Los Ratones. Sola, what game stands out to you and who do you think is going to win?
So I think we're actually looking at a quite one-sided set of games, right? I think the only game that should be kind of close is if Shifters manages to get back to Week 1 performance against Fnatic. And maybe the first game is going to be interesting as well to just see who's worse.
Okay, hang on. Now, whoa. Dial this back. You just said one-sided. So give me the wins. Who wins? Just give me team names. Win.
Okay. I'm going to say SK, Giant X, Fnatic, G2, KC, MCoy. And I'm like, I will get 5 out of 6 correct.
Skyyart, what do you think?
I believe first game both team lose. Second,
I agree. Yeah.
no. I will go for SK. I would say, even if I'm not convinced. I would say I would go for Navy for the second game. Fnatic, G2, KC, and Koi.
Listen, I'm a Navi fan, and I'm more hopeful for Navi of a GX personally, but based on Week 1 and Week 2, I don't know. I also don't know how you can feel so confident, because I can look at every single one of those teams, and even though Los Ratones has 2 wins, I have felt that KC Blue have looked to be a better team than Los Ratones in their games. That's so. The record doesn't show it, but I think they're a stronger team.
I mean, I'm fine with being confidently wrong, so that's okay to me.
I think Navy will improve because they have talented players, but they are missing, I would say, macro game and setup stuff. But I think with The Rock and Go-To-One, they will progress on this. And I believe if they don't win bot lane, just as we said before, if June and Noah don't win bot lane, and it might be tough. So I think it will be a good game. I think the second game we're going to be very cool to watch.
I'm falling in love with Rilesh as a jungler as well. Somebody that I didn't know anything about, and seeing his gameplay in Champion Pool. And even his interviews, like there's this humble confidence, you know, when he speaks, like the new guy on stage nerves are not there. And I really, really appreciate that. It's great.
He was very cocky though, going 1v3 against KC. Not sure, bro. Not sure. Please don't, bro.
Listen, Week 1, Navi, I thought they could win the whole thing. Week 2, I've got more doubts on that one. Okay, right. We've seen another week of games. The very last thing I want to do is just review our current power rankings. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, in our last show, we did a sort of top tier, middle tier, bottom tier as far as rankings were concerned. Okay. Our bottom 4 teams were Los Ratones, KC Blue, Team Heretics, and SK. Are there any disagreements?
May you repeat? Sorry.
Los Ratones, KC Blue, Heretics, and SK Gaming are our bottom 4 ranked teams.
Yeah.
I would
Sola?
say they are still the bottom 4,
Okay.
but the priority might have
Yeah.
shifted a bit.
Look,
but I think it's
I'll
only
say-
about being bottom 4, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go 12, 11, 10, 9. It takes too much time to debate, right?
Yeah.
But I'll say in the bottom 4. What I will ask is in the middle 4, we had Vitality, Navi, Giant X, and Fnatic.
Who is the fourth then? Who is the top 4?
The top 4, Shifters, Koi, G2, and KC.
Yeah, Shifters, no.
So Shifters
down for
Shifters-
sure, yeah.
Shifters is
Okay.
07. It might
So then-
might go to bottom 4, to be fair.
Ooh.
No, but I feel like Vitality and Shifters are pretty weak.
I mean, you still have to think Shifters lost the game against GX because of the base race kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
They
you're
should
right.
have won
Yeah.
that game, and they also
Yeah.
should have won the Lost Returns game. So if they get
Yeah.
better at
Yes.
closing games, then
Yeah.
I think they should still be.
But
Yeah.
the line,
Yeah.
the line that they used on
I
the
would say
English
they were
broadcast,
middle.
it stuck with me so much. Shifters snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. It's such a good line.
Yeah,
It's
that's
such a
perfect.
good line.
I don't
So
understand
that's
the
what I
line. Sorry,
feel.
my English is not perfect. I don't understand
know,
what it means.
Do you know when they there's normally the normal English saying is they managed to win on the
Okay.
verge of defeat,
Okay.
but they flipped it. They
Okay.
managed to lose on the
Okay.
verge of victory. Yes,
Yeah, this fits
it's quite
perfectly, yeah.
insulting.
Okay.
It's quite insulting. Okay, I've made a note of this. We've got a middle 5 and a top 3 for now. I'm going to leave this as is because I want to start to wrap up the show. I want to say thank you guys so much. Skyyart, before we go,
Yeah, sure.
what are your plans for the rest of the week? Because we probably are not going to see you on the show for a couple of weeks. So what are you doing in the next few days and weeks?
I will be casting LEC games and LCK games. It's gonna be BO5 LCK, and it's gonna be fun to watch. And I hope we have amazing LEC game. I can't wait to have the playoff. To be fair, because some games were, I mean, I would say a bit when Koi is playing against LR. If LR doesn't do an amazing game, it's one-sided, I would say. So I can't wait to have the playoff to have very intense, and I think also the best drafts, because I think people also are a bit hiding their best strategies for the playoff, which is pretty fair.
Yeah. I mean, definitely in terms of hiding strategies, we haven't seen anything more than a BO1. So let's see if we get some more fun picks, if we see more Gwens and Aphelioses. Sola, what you up to for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, casting LEC as well, right? It's a pretty big part of my week
Yeah.
now this year. Other than that, I'm just trying to grind my solo queue back up. I aim to hit Grandmasters in next month. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But that's my goal at least. And other than that, just
Solar Cope.
streaming
Solar
every
Cope.
day
You know,
and
we'll see.
trying
I-
to
I'll-
get. I will make
I'll
it. I will
believe
make
it. I'll
Don't
believe it
you
when I
dare.
see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Make sure you honor the top
Okay.
laners that win you games next time, Sola.
Maybe I
I
will.
saw
Maybe I
that
will.
shit. I saw that. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm going to ask you to drop from the call. You can turn off your co-streams as well. I only have one last segment to do. So thank you guys so much. Cheers, Skyyart. Cheers, Sola.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having us. Bye
Ciao,
bye.
guys.
Ciao, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye.
Bye. So much for watching our second episode of the HopEUm podcast. We are always open and willing and looking for feedback. So if you're on the G2 Discord, please hit us up in the HopEUm channel, or you can hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Quickshot or at Quickshot Official on Instagram. I read all of my DMs and I really, really welcome them. We're still building out the format. We're building out the segments. I'm going to have to build out my flamethrower. apparently my regional rage bait was just the truth. Nobody got mad at all, except Sola did get a little pissy about LCS and LEC. So that does wrap that one up. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. Skyyart and Sola were awesome. Next week, we're going to have Brice and Sendo joining me. So Italy and Spain will be on the show next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And before we wrap up today's show, it is our time to take a look at the Winamaxing predictions game. Now, we have already shown you how the predictions have played out from our respective guests. But at the end of week 2, Kaltus is in the lead with 24 correct games predicted out of 36. I'll have you, Mo. Quickshot is sitting on 23, followed by Skyyart at 22, and Sola and Brice and Sendo are bringing down the pack. So next week, Brice and Sendo, let's see if they can get some better predictions in our Winamax Predicts segment. I also need to take charge again. These children, they cannot be beating me in the scoreboard. So thank you for watching. Thank you to Winamax. Thank you to G2. And let's hope they win some more games. We'll see you next week for HopEUm Episode 3, 7 o'clock on Tuesday.